following program is sponsored. The opinions and statements made by the host and the guests do not necessarily reflect the views of WBOB or its parent company, the Chesapeake Portsmouth Broadcasting Corporation.
It's time for Real Estate Radio with Angela and Howard. Angela and Howard talk about what's new in real estate and answer your buying and selling questions. To participate in today's show, call 222-TALK. That's 222-8255. And now, here are Angela and Howard.
Good morning, Jacksonville, Northeast Florida, everybody. I know everybody is probably in their car. They're either trying to escape our little storm that's coming, or they're out shopping for supplies, or they're at home doing nothing, or what do you think
listening to the radio.
Or they're listening to the radio. We have a big surprise and excitement happening here in the studio today, don't we, Howard?
Well, the big excitement, first of all, is that if you haven't turned on the radio or turned on the news yet, is that the intended path of the storm has changed and has moved eastward, which means that the path is no longer coming up the middle of the state, nor coming toward Jacksonville. The hopeful path is that it is moving eastward out into the ocean. So it looks like it will be eastward of Jacksonville and miss Jacksonville. Now, of course, that can change. It can stay that way. It can move further east. It can move further west. So stay tuned, but it's still going to be a ways away. It was exciting to wake up to,
right?
Yes.
It was good news to wake up to. It doesn't mean that it'll be the same tomorrow when we wake up.
Yes, it's still days away.
Keep planning. Plus, one of our storms we had, and I don't remember which one it was that same kind of model where it was coming just up the east side of our coast, and it was still pretty detrimental to our coast.
Yes.
So don't sit back and think it doesn't mean anything to us, because it will.
Yes, but at least that is somewhat good news. The other good news that we have for today is that we have a guest that has been on once before, and he is just a great, great speaker, a great community servant.
Oh, yeah.
And has been involved in helping the citizens of our great county. He's from Duval County, and his name, you all will know the name, is Jerry Holland, the Duval County property appraiser. So good morning and welcome, Jerry.
Well, good morning. It's great to be here, and it is great news to hear about the projected path of the storm. That is for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, and I want to say something right away. You know, Jerry Holland is an elected official. He's the Duval County property appraiser, but he is not your typical politician. So a typical politician runs for an office, sometimes has no experience doing that particular job. But Jerry is different than that. First of all, he's a regular guy, right?
I am definitely that.
So I want to do a little bragging about you, because sometimes people don't want to brag about themselves, but I want to do a little bit bragging about you, because some people just, they get mail from you. And last week, in the last 2 weeks, they got mail from you. So you've got mail, and it wasn't on the internet. You've got mail from Jerry if you're in Duval County, and similarly from if you're in every other county, you got mail from their property appraiser. But I want to talk a little bit about you, because you have been serving the residents of Duval County for many, many years. You're a past president of the Jacksonville City Council.
Correct.
And what year was that?
2002, 2003, I was city council president.
Wow, so you've been around for a while. You're a past president of the Florida State Association of the Supervisor of Elections.
I did have that honor of representing the 67 counties, and that was obviously in the position of serving as Supervisor of Elections for 10 years here in Duval County.
Right. You are now, a lot of times somebody from the property appraiser's office doesn't even necessarily know a whole lot about real estate, but you are a certified general contractor.
That is correct. I'm a general contractor in the state of Florida.
A real estate broker.
Correct.
A certified Florida appraiser, and total has worked over almost 40 years in the real estate industry.
I have been blessed, and the real estate industry has been good to my family, and I've even seen my wife has been involved in the real estate in the industry. My son currently today works for Dreamfinder Homes, so it's nice to see it follow to a second generation. So we have always enjoyed the real estate industry, and I've been very appreciative of going out and educating the real estate industry today on many things from homestead exemptions, portability, making sure, because I believe as property appraiser, our real estate agents in Duval County is kind of the first line of information to the new home buyer, to the home buyer who's selling their home for the first time and now buying another one, all that. So that relationship between realtors is very important for our office as property appraiser.
And you are so reachable. And I want to get Angela to tell a story about what happened with one of our customers. Was it this week or last week with one of our customers that actually went to your office? Angela, you want to tell that story?
Yes. So we have customers who have lived in their home forever. They live in Mandarin, and they sold their home so they could move deeper into Mandarin. Their grandchildren live in St. Johns County, and they kind of needed to help their kids after school because the mom went back to work. And so they needed to be around a little more for that, but they didn't want to be too far away from the country club and their golfing lifestyle and whatnot. So they sold their home after like 35 years or something. And so when that happens, Jerry, we think that it's important. This family's in their 80s. We think it's important to take them down to your office and to help them file for portability. So we did that. Actually, I was feeling under the weather, so our assistant Anna took them, and they ran into you.
Sure did.
And Anna introduced herself to you and told you who she was and everything. And you were so kind to them. You stopped what you were doing and talked to them and everything. But it's a really important part, I think, of our business to take the time out. Because, we could be making money instead, but we weren't. We take the time out and go with our customers and go down there because it's hard for me to explain portability. And I'm very familiar, but it's hard for me to explain it. And if someone, doesn't move very often, which they didn't, they're going to get a big chunk of savings.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And I want to make sure they get it. And I don't want them to do it online. And they don't want to do it online. As I mentioned, they're in their 80s. So they don't want anything to do with the computer. And so, anyway, that's kind of the story. Is that the story you wanted me to tell?
That is the story I wanted you to tell. And the point of that story, of course, is that a lot of people in positions like yours, they sit back in their desk and they only handle problems or do executive type stuff. But you're out there with your staff and with customers, not customers, but with homeowners, and help out. And that's the type of guy you are. It's like you have a phone number that you give out to people. You answer your phone.
I give out my cell phone number.
I love that.
318-6877. And one of the things, an interesting story, I love stories as we talk about our customers or our taxpayers, is one of the things that we do is once every 5 years, we've got to put eyes on every property in Duval County.
Right.
And when I first came in office, I said to my staff, I don't think the taxpayers know we even come out to their property. So we did a couple things. One is I said I want our vehicles to be marked, not just white cars and they don't even know it's us in the neighborhood. So we put nice blue and green stripes on our vehicles, seals. But then I said I want to leave a door knocker on the door letting us know. And they said, oh, no, we'll get thousands of phone calls. I said, well, then we'll put my cell phone number on it. And they said, oh, you won't even be able to do anything. And I get calls maybe 5 or 6 a week, and it's so nice. They say, oh, Jerry, I saw you stop by the house, and I have to tell them, no, it was one of my staff, but they're so appreciative that I work for them, I tell them, that they can call me and say, well, tell me why they came by. And so I can explain the process.
That's what I love about you. That's the heart of a servant right there.
Thank you.
I love that.
We are going to talk about what you do when you visit once every 5 years. You don't go inside the house. Never. You look around the house. We're also going to talk about the subject that Angela brought up, which was portability. What on earth does that mean and how it benefits so many of the homeowners here in the state of Florida. We'll be right back. Stay with us, everyone. We're also going to answer your questions so you can call in. Stay with us. Good morning, WBOB listeners. It's your Realtor on the Radio, Howard Vergalis of Watson Realty Corp. Angela and I want to thank you for tuning in with us for our 5th year now. It's been such a great pleasure to be on the radio with you, giving you advice on buying and selling, as well as answering your questions on the air. Thank you so much for the trust that you have in us as professional, experienced realtors with over 20 years of combined experience. We want you to know that when it's time to sell your home, we want to be your realtor. We will focus on your home, your family, and your time frame. Our team will customize a marketing plan to give you the best exposure to get you the best price and have the best selling experience possible. Whether it's a condo or a house, a short sale or a regular sale, a $200,000 home or a mansion, you will get the same great service. Call us at 421-7950 and join the multitudes of others that have experienced the Angela and Howard Team Advantage.
Are you buying a property being sold by HUD? As a buyer, you can select Watson Title Services of North Florida as your settlement agent. Avoid having to deal with out-of-town companies and make sure you get the world-class customer service of Watson Title Services that Angela and Howard have come to expect. Call them at 461-3220 when you're looking at buying a HUD property to ensure your purchase goes through as smoothly as possible. That's 461-3220. Angela and Howard do. Angela Walker and Howard Vergalis of Watson Realty Corp. not only come to you every Saturday morning, but they would also like to work with you when you need them the most. That is, when you need to buy or sell a home. They pride themselves in giving you their very best effort every day and in every way. There are many realtors in the First Coast to choose from. Let them show you the Howard and Angela Team Advantage. Call them at 421-7950 or email them at realestateradio@yahoo.com.
Are you active or retired military or a veteran looking to buy or refinance your home? I can make the process easy for you. My name is Christine Kennedy, and I'm here to answer all your questions. Give me a call at 904-514-6969. I also want to take this opportunity to say thank you to you and your family for your service to our great country.
Success Mortgage Partners, NMLS number 130562.
Do you know that over half of local home inspectors have less than 2 years experience, and most have never built or even remodeled a home? Not so with Property 360. Founded by a home builder with over 30 years of experience, you don't have to hire the most qualified home inspector, but it sure helps. Everything you need in home and commercial building inspection in one phone call. Call 855-932-3784 or visit thebuildinginspector.net. That's 855-932-3784. Mention Real Estate Radio and receive $25 off your inspection order.
This segment of Real Estate Radio with Angela and Howard is brought to you by Watson Title Services of Northeast Florida. For answers to your North Florida real estate questions, call into the show at 222-TALK. That's 222-8255.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for staying tuned with us during our commercial break. We're so excited.
Yeah, Jerry Holland is
excited?
here, the Duval County Property Appraiser.
Yes.
And we really do want to answer everybody's questions about anything related
you mean
to
we can't
property.
hog him? People need to call in? Okay, so what's the number? 222-TALK. To me, you have to call 222-TALK, which is 222-8255. Call in and talk to Jerry. Now, I know people are busy and you got other stuff going, but seriously, tax bills came out. Y'all probably have some questions. He's right here. He's live. This is not Memorex, for those of you who know what that means. So call in 222-8255 and ask Jerry any questions you have about your tax bill.
So you got the well, it wasn't a bill that came out, right? Explain the difference between that, Jerry.
Well, your tax bill will come out November 1st.
Right.
What you got was a trim notice, which is short. An acronym for trim notice is the truth in millage, which means, as you see, there's 3 values on there, or 3 amount of taxes you may be paying. What it's trying to tell you is what your final rate was in 2018, what if no budget change is made, and then your taxes this year if a proposed budget change is made. And so it shows all those situations of what your taxes may be. And understand, One is the county has an option, meaning City of Jacksonville municipalities. You'll hear about rollback rate. What they can do is they can say, you know what, we had last year $53 million of value, and so we assessed and we got this much revenue. We're going to roll back the rate so we get the same revenue, and that's a rollback rate. Means we're going to lower the millage when the values are going up to get the same revenue from one year to the next. They don't have to do that. They can keep the same millage rate, and this becomes political because you'll hear people saying when they present a budget, we once again did not raise your taxes. We kept the millage rate the same, and you go, well, that's strange. My tax bill went up. What do you mean? Well, your tax bill went up because the value of your property went up, but the millage rate stayed the same, so that elected official kept their promise of not raising the millage rate. But they did raise your taxes because they could have lowered the millage rate to keep your taxes the same. So that becomes an argument, and I've seen it back years ago, political battles where someone running for mayor one time had voted on the council every time to lower the millage rate, but their values of their taxes still went up because they only lowered it a little bit. And they said, oh, they raised your taxes every year. And they were like, no, I didn't. So that becomes interesting as you look at rollback. Now, interesting is the school district is mandated to roll theirs back, which seems odd. And right now they're going through the argument of raising, a sales tax for repair in schools. And you look on your tax bill and on your truth and millage and everything, and all of a sudden you're saying, why are they lowering their millage? They have to. The state says you've got to roll back your millage to equal the same income you had last year, which I'll be honest with you, I don't really understand because they have costs that go up every year too. Why shouldn't they do like the cities do and say I can keep my millage the same and have additional costs? But they are restricted. It has to come down. And that does make it difficult, and one reason why we do have a lot of schools that need repairs.
That's unfortunate.
True.
It really is.
Yeah, I heard a show here on this station where the superintendent of schools were saying that, I'm getting off the subject a little bit, but we're saying that some of the schools, like air conditioners, are 30, 40, 50 years old, and they're just repairing them year after year. But that's a whole different story. Well, let's get back to this and saying that we talked right before the break about values. Now, when your appraisers go out, you said they're in marked cars now, and they don't go into the house to see that you renovated your kitchen or updated a bathroom. So what do they do when they come out to your house? If a homeowner puts on a new roof, does that make the value of the house go up?
It can change the condition of the house. I mean, it can, from the last time they looked at it or something of that nature. What they're looking at is a couple things. One is, did the homeowner, without a permit, add any structure to the home? That's going to change the value. They're supposed to have a permit, but sometimes people get very creative, and they should get a permit for insurance reasons and things like that. We want to make sure that the home that we have on the property record card is the same size that the home is currently today. So we take a laser measure and measure around the house to see if we have the right square footage. They may have also reduced the size of the home. They may have had an enclosed garage, and now it's back to a garage. They may have an enclosed screen porch or built-in porch, and maybe they've taken an outbuilding, maybe they've taken it down. We need to make sure that ours is right, and we'll reduce the amount of square footage. So we're checking to make sure. Now, we sometimes will do that physically and go out to the property, and the state law allows us also. It will take aerial photographs almost every year, and we'll look at one aerial photograph to the other, because that helps sometimes to see on properties, did they add a dock? Did a dock get taken away by a storm? Did they remove a property or part of that? So we're checking really to see, are our records correct? That's our purpose. And then the quality of the home is what we'll adjust to. If it's deteriorating, we'll note that. We have 5 levels. Is it, they've completely renovated and everything looks new? That'll change the value of the home too. Versus on the outside, we'll see that. But you're right. We'll confirm if the homeowner's there when we knock on the door. We'll confirm, do we have the right number of bedrooms? Do we have the right number of bathrooms? Do we have the right number, fireplaces, things of that nature? We'll ask those questions. Did they add a pool? We'll see that also. So we'll adjust that. We want to make sure our records are correct. And if a person we encourage people to do this. Go online, DuvalPA.com. Look at your property. look at what we say in that, the number of bathrooms it has, bedrooms, all those statistics of extra value. Is it correct? If it's not, tell us. We'll come out, we'll verify it. It may lower your taxes. We did a special project this year. My person over field said, you know what? Over the years, we've done measurements on the outside, but the measurements on the outside doesn't always determine the square footage. As y'all know, in real estate, you've seen houses with clear story areas. Well, you can measure the outside, and the 2-story, part of the 1-story may go straight up, and it really isn't conditioned space.
Right.
So we said we're going to go back to every 2-story in Duval County. We're going to pull the plans from the building department. They're online. We pull those plans. We verify it to our records. We adjusted some, and I put it out on our social media. And so it's, you just want to collect more taxes. Our net effect from doing this entire project was 0 additional taxes to the taxing districts. But for some taxpayers, they were under assessed by about 1,400 square feet, and some were over assessed by about that much. So it meant accuracy for the individual taxpayer. That was our priority. It wasn't about doing this project and getting more money for the taxing districts. It was about making sure everybody had an accurate assessment.
Yeah, so somebody has a 2-story family room that's, say, 200 square feet on the bottom floor. That doesn't add 400 square feet because the second floor of that is not a floor.
It's open to the ceiling. You're exactly right.
So it's not 400 square feet. It's only 200 square feet.
We see that with foyers. We don't try to count stairways twice and those kind of things. So those are things, if you've got a home that's got clear story, let's make sure we got the right square footage, and that's important. We want to make sure it's right because a lot of times they'll use that to represent, and you know that as people go to sell homes. Well, the property appraiser has your house at this many square feet. Okay, let's make sure we're on the right page and it's correct.
Okay.
You know what's funny, too, is that a lot of real estate agents will use whatever's in the tax record. They are so lazy. They do not measure homes. And so when you look at like what's on the multiple listing service, it gives you an option of putting like where you got the square footage from. So whether it comes from an appraisal or the tax record or where, most of them come from the tax record. Very few people measure. And I think that we run into that, just like you're saying, especially on the 2 stories. And it's harder for realtors to measure a 2-story. I mean,
just like them. That's why it really goes back to the plans and looking at the plans and those kind of things to determine that.
So let's talk about the market value that you show on the tax form that you send out. Is that the same thing that the house should sell for on the open market?
No. And let me tell you, that comes off often. And there's 3 values: market value, assessed value, and taxable value. And we'll talk about all. But market value, I had a lady come in this week. She came in and says, and she's looking at, it's a home out at the beach, and she's looking at the value really now of the beach's property is, on many homes, is not the home, it's the land. Right. And she's saying, you've got my land too much, this land sold for this. And I had someone come offer me so much for my house, and they said, well, the property appraiser has. I said, don't be sucked into that. They'll use that as, that must be what it's worth selling. Understand this. We'll mark the values of the property as what we think a reasonable person will purchase the property for, and we'll base it on either cost, sales, or income approach, depending on the type of property. And then the state Department of Revenue says you reduce that sales price by the cost of sale. Across the state, they assume it's about 15%. That's higher than what it typically is. But so really what our market value is most of the time about 85% of what it sells, and it's also based on January 1st of that year. And you're looking at the property value in November. That's 11 months since we've assessed the value.
Absolutely. And that is different for sure.
That is very different. That is a great explanation. Hey, when we come back after the break, we are going to talk about how to reduce the amount of taxes with so many of the exemptions that a lot of people are just not aware of.
Yes.
Great information that is coming up, even such things as a granny suite. What is that? Of course, the homestead exemption. Everybody knows about that one, but some people don't have it. And a couple of much newer ones. So stay with us, everyone. We'll be right back.
Talk Radio, AM 600, 101.1 FM, WBOB.
With SRN News, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. Residents of Florida keeping an eye on Hurricane Dorian. And at this point, hurricane specialist Jack Bevitt at the National Hurricane Center says it's way too soon to know where and even if the Category 4 hurricane might make landfall. It was packing top sustained winds of 140 miles an hour at last glance and threatening to strike the Florida Peninsula late Monday or early Tuesday. But the hurricane watchers say it could easily go to the north. With new U.S. tariffs set to kick in tomorrow on more than $100 billion worth of Chinese goods, some are worried about the impact on U.S. farm exports, but President Trump told reporters on Friday before departing for Camp David he's essentially reimbursing U.S. farmers. The president and many analysts accusing China of engaging in predatory trade tactics in its drive to become the supreme high-tech superpower. On Wall Street Friday, the Dow was up 41 points. This is SRN News.
Make someone's day with a little help from Kuhn Flowers. Fresh flowers have a way of adding that extra bit of beauty to your home. They're also a great way to brighten someone's day. And what better way is there to show someone just how much you care than with a fresh bouquet of flowers? One thing's for sure, when you order flowers from Kuhn Flowers, you're going to get the brightest, most colorful, professionally arranged, long-lasting floral arrangements available. Call Kuhn Flowers today at 398-8601. That's 398-8601. Or you can shop online anytime at KuhnFlowers.com. Kuhn Flowers, making memories since 1947. You've been thinking real hard about getting a new motorcycle. You've done all the research, and you've got a pretty good idea what you're looking for. The only problem is, it's out of your price range. Buy a used one. Did you know that in many cases, motorcycle manufacturers will produce the same bike for as long as 5 years in a row? Sure, they might change the paint and the graphics, but underneath, it's the same bike. Now, all you have to do is find a used version of that bike. Here is a great place to start. Jacksonville Power Sports. Why Jacksonville Power Sports? Reputation. Since 1975, Jacksonville Power Sports has been proudly serving the people of Jacksonville. They were here then, they're here now, and they'll be here tomorrow. Can the guy on Craigslist say that? Jacksonville Power Sports has over 50 pre-owned sport bikes, cruisers, and dual-purpose motorcycles to choose from, and every single one of them has made a trip through the service department to make sure they're mechanically sound and ready for a new owner. Jacksonville Power Sports, located on Atlantic Boulevard, a half mile west of 295. Give them a call today at 641-5320 or shop online at jacksonvillepowersports.com.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, the inventor and CEO of MyPillow. My passion has always been to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. Radio has helped MyPillow become the amazing company that it is today. My employees and I want to thank you with some of the best discounts on my products ever. Just go to MyPillow.com right now and click on the new radio listener specials. Here you will find deep discounts on MyPillow's mattress toppers, sheets, and so much more. For example, the body pillows are normally $89.99, but with your promo code, you can get them for just $29.99. And remember, all MyPillow products come with a 60-day money-back guarantee and a 10-year warranty.
Just go to MyPillow.com, click on the new radio listener specials, and get deep discounts on all MyPillow products, including the body pillow for only $29.99. Enter promo code WBOB or call 800-950-9024 for these great radio specials. How will the weather affect you? WBOB weather.
40% chance of showers and mostly cloudy skies all weekend long with highs into the upper 80s, nighttime lows upper 70s. Then tropical storm conditions will start for Monday, Labor Day, with an 80% chance of showers most of the week. Hurricane conditions by Tuesday night. Mostly cloudy skies in that period with highs into the upper 80s, nighttime lows 75.
This segment sponsored by Christine Kennedy of Success Mortgage Partners.
Storm damage, if there is, that's something.
Welcome back, everybody.
You're taking my line.
Well, go ahead.
Welcome back, everybody. So excited to be here on this happy Saturday.
Well, it is. We got good news this morning that the storm has moved, or the expected track has moved further east, meaning off the coast, so the eye will not reach here in Jacksonville. At least that is the, I won't say plan, that is the hopeful
That is the thought of the moment.
That is the thought of the moment. That's right.
Yeah. Do you want to talk at all about the storm and storm damage? Is there a way that it impacts you and your business?
Yeah, because a lot of times people go, let's say there's a storm right now. and let's say it does damage. We can use an example like in Mexico Beach where many homes were completely devastated.
Right.
In those situations, they go, well, do I have to pay my tax bill in November if I truly lost my entire home? The answer is yes. Because your taxes are based on the home's value on January 1st, which means a couple things. You could have a dock that was wiped out in this storm. You rebuild it, and it's back December 31st. Well, January 1st, you've got a dock again. You've got the value of that dock again. So what we look at is January 1st and January 1st of the next year. If you have damage and it's repaired before January 1st, you do not get. Now, the legislature can give special exemptions, and they did that in the last two storms. They did it for agriculture. They also did it and said, wait a second, sometimes people could be out of their home for several months and then back in when they are being assessed. But what that does, it doesn't change your bill coming up. They gave them a special allowance to take off of their next bill the following year. So in reality is this. Your assessment is based on your value January 1st. Whatever damage, house can even burn down during the year, you're going to pay on that. It's no different than also if you buy to build a home and it's a vacant lot on January 1st, they start construction in March, it's finished in August, that year you'll pay on a vacant lot.
Right.
January 1st of the next year, you'll pay on an improved property. It's all about that time and date of January 1st.
Very interesting.
Yeah, one of the interesting things about the whole property appraiser's office is that it is one of the few things that you've heard of the thing about fighting City Hall, and that you can't, it's difficult to fight City Hall, and that you can't fight your taxes. But in this case, you can fight. And I don't want to call this adversarial because it's not. Because sometimes, it is not an exact science, the valuation of a home. So if you truly believe, you the homeowner, truly believe that the valuation of the home is wrong, there is a way to go to your office or file a form to state your case. And
yes, there is.
Through your office. So tell us briefly about what that procedure is.
Well, first of all, we really want to know, as we've mentioned many times, we want to make sure we're accurate. Now, if your argument is, I really think my value ought to be lower because I'm paying too much taxes, that's not a valid argument. It may be sincere, but in the reality is it's not based on what you can afford. It's based on the value of the home. Now, if you believe we have the value wrong, we may have the square footage wrong. We may have extra features, the condition wrong. You may believe that there's been sales that reflects a different market. We want to know that. That's an informal review. Now, you can do a formal review. It costs you $15 to the Value Adjustment Board. Value Adjustment Board is located in the Jacksonville and City Hall on Duval Street. You can go there. It's not paying us. You pay them $15. What's going to happen is they're going to set a date that you will come in front of a magistrate, which is a licensed appraiser. He will hear your presentation of why your value should be different, and he will hear our presentation of how we came up with your value, and then determine that. We then, if you like the value they came up with, you may accept it. If we like the value they came up, we may accept it. If we think they came up wrong, we can actually, if we think the difference is more than 5%, we can challenge you in court or ask the board to reconsider. Or if you don't think they came up wrong, you still have another option, which is take us to circuit court. We have some that go straight to circuit court. They just have, it's large corporations, they have enough attorneys, they fight these all throughout the state. They just think that's the process, take you every year to court and try to tie it up in court. They still have to pay their taxes, but it's another avenue. So the whole point is this, is that you're right. It's not adversarial. It's not a fight. It's just a challenge of who's got the most accurate records. If you can update us and give us more information, we change values all the time because people have updated us on the information. So and that's what we want to do.
So if two houses on the same street that are similar size were foreclosed properties and they sold for $50,000 less than my home, is that a justification for changing the value on mine?
No, it's not. And in fact, the reality is this, is that homes, what they sell for may not indicate the value of the home. Again, the value of the home is what a reasonable person will pay in an arm's length transaction. In other words, what will typically the market offer? Sometimes the seller is in a position where they have to unload the home. They may be being transferred. They may have, if they don't sell it, it's going to foreclose. It's a short sale. They have to get rid of it. That doesn't mean if it sat on the market for a normal time, that's what it would sell for. So again, we're looking at the typical value. If there's 5 sales in the area and they all went for, let's just say, $100 a square foot, but you bought that one for $75. Does it mean your value is going to be at $75? No, because we're going to look at, is it a qualified sale? What was the reason? Now, maybe it is worth $75 because guess what? All the other ones had swimming pools. All the other ones were located on the lake, and yours is across the street, not on the lake. Maybe there's an extra value that is a difference, and so we'll look at that. So every property is unique, and we really try to get those facts in there. But realize this, we have 366,000 real estate parcels in Duval County. So the fact that we are appraising it every year doesn't mean that we are individually looking at that and pulling up all the data. We use what's called CAMA, which is computer-assisted mass appraisal. So we're appraising by areas. What is that area, geographic area you're in? What is it changing values? And then we plug that into all the homes. So your unique property may have some specific thing that is really different than the other ones, or it may be all the same. We see this especially in condos. They are typically all the same. I mean, a 2-bedroom townhouse in one project is going to be just like the 2-bedroom townhouse somewhere else. But there may be extra values, but everything should be pretty similar in those kind of homogeneous markets.
So the way to reduce, other than going to reduce your taxes, other than to go to your office and go to the board, is to see whether or not someone will qualify for any of the several exemptions. So the biggest exemption that people have is the homestead exemption.
Homestead exemption, which started back in 1935, which gave you about $500 of value exemption, and has increased over the period of time to now it's $50,000, $25,000 full exemption on all taxes of your first $25,000 in value. It skips at $25,000 in value, and then the next $25,000 is not on the school district, but the municipal and state taxes between the value of $50,000 and $75,000. And even last year, they thought about bumping it up higher, but it didn't pass. That was one of the amendments that didn't pass. So that's a big exemption for people. And that is also generates the portability, the homestead cap. That's why it's so favorable for people to retire in Florida, and why the legislature has made it so attractive, is that homestead cap now locks in your assessed value that it can't, if it's homestead, it can't go up more than 3% or the consumer price index, which it started in 1992, and only 3 times has it been 3%. It's been as low as 0% increase of assessed value. This year it's 1.9%. A couple years ago it was 7.7%. So really your assessed value isn't going up much. So that's presenting a difference between your assessed and market value. That's your homestead cap. And what's even greater is you can move that to your next home, as you were mentioned earlier about the customer that you had.
That's called portability.
It's portability of your homestead cap. You can move as much as $500,000 to the next home. I've seen that much cap. Now, again, to move all of it, the home has to be that value or more. To move a portion of it, if the home, in other words, you have a $500,000 home with a $100,000 cap, and you're retiring to a $250,000 home, then it's half the value, so you only get 50% of that home's of that $100,000 cap. It's proportionate share when you move down in value. You move up, you move the whole value.
There's so many other exemptions that we're going to talk about after the break. There are several of them available for the military, whether they're deployed or not. There are available a lot of discounts or exemptions, I should say, available for people that are disabled, for people that are blind, for people that are first responders, and there are a lot of conditions for all of these, for people that build an addition onto their home for their in-laws, perhaps, that are retired. Many exemptions to reduce your tax bill. And there's a part of your website that has all of them on there. And what is your website, Jerry?
Website is DuvalPA.com. And that'll get you there and give you all that information.
All right, we're going to talk about some of those other exemptions when we come back after the break, and you can still call in with questions. We'll be right back. Hey, WBOB listeners, it's your realtor on the radio, Howard Vergalis of Watson Realty Corp. Angela and I don't just do the radio show, we are active realtors. When it's time to buy, we will interview you to determine your specific housing needs. Distance to work, style of home, school needs, distance to place of worship, kids' activities, lifestyles, number of bedrooms, budget, and so much more. In short, we do our very best to find you your perfect home. We won't waste your time showing you houses that don't fit your needs. Whether you're moving up, moving into your first home, or now an empty nester, you can trust us for the most important purchase of your life. It's what we do. It's what we'll do for you. Experience the Angela and Howard Team Advantage. Call us at 421-7950. Angela and I are reaching out to all of our fellow realtors. Do you recommend mortgage lenders that only have one or two basic vanilla types of mortgage products? So many home buyers need one of the many different flavors of mortgages that Christine Kennedy of Success Mortgage Partners offers. Don't lose a buyer because you can't get them qualified to purchase a home. From self-employed to no tax returns to 1 day out of bankruptcy to even bank statement only programs. You can even get your buyers up to a $2,000 tax credit every year of the loan. Give Christine a call at 514-6969. That's 514-6969. One of the most critical parts of buying or selling your home is the very last process. That's the closing process. Angela and I recommend Watson Title Services. They have the experience to handle any issue that can come up, and there is never an upfront fee to the seller. Whether you are using a realtor with the sale of your home or not, always ask for Watson Title Service to handle your closing. We do. Call them at 461-3220. That's Watson Title Services. Every pest control company is not the same. Some simply work harder. If you've been told by another pest control company that you have termites, let 360 Pest Control test your home or office with their patented radar system. That's right, they use radar to locate live termites and other pests. You may not need to tent your home. Call 637-1109 or visit the web at 360pestpro.com. That's 904-637-1109. Mention Real Estate Radio and receive a $25 off coupon.
This segment of Real Estate Radio with Angela and Howard is brought to you by Watson Title Services of Northeast Florida. For answers to your North Florida real estate questions, call into the show at 222-TALK. That's 222-8255.
Welcome back, everybody. So excited to be here on this happy Saturday, and it is that, Howard. I want to tell you all that we are here still with Jerry Holland, and we are talking about our properties, because being a property owner is one of the most exciting things we can do in this country, and it is part of the American dream. So part of the American dream also is paying taxes. And so when we do that, the way that it works here in Florida is that you get your notice at the end of August, and then you have an opportunity to look that over and see how it's going to affect you. And if you see that there's any discrepancies, you have opportunity to challenge. And then there's also some really important things that we as real estate agents like to talk to new customers about. And, there's so many people who move here from other parts of the country. We'd like to explain about homestead exemption and all types of exemptions that can really benefit them. And so, Jerry, I think this is a good part for us to pick up on for the last segment of our show, because there's so many that, frankly, I don't do a good job explaining, because I know that for most people in my car, I don't know what's going to impact them. And I don't want to get that personal with them. I want to talk about homestead exemption, and then that's I talk about Save Our Homes and homestead. But there's certainly so many more that could apply to people. And maybe this would be a great time for you to talk about that.
There really is a lot. There are some that I will say give you a very small, significant value.
Right.
One of those that we've been trying to increase is the widow exemption.
Yes.
It's been the same for literally decades. It's $500 of value, which equates to about $8 reduction in taxes. A lot of times people say, well, that'll cost me more to come down to your office than it will. Yeah, but listen, I don't set the values. That is determined by the legislature. We have been lobbying, our associations have been lobbying to take that up to about $5,000 in value. Again, the legislature typically, they love exemptions, but they don't change them a lot, So once they've gotten the credit for giving that exemption, they move on to something else. But from a standpoint, there are many, as you said. Our military is interesting because some will have, even on the first responders, will think that they're inclusive of everyone. The military, it's specifically if you're engaged in a certain operation, and it lists the operations. I mean, it's like, and a lot of these, you, as an average citizen, we may not even know. Currently going on today is Operation Resolute Support, Operation Freedom Sentinel, Operation Inherent Resolve, Operation Atlantic Resolve. These are ones that have been going on for the last 5 years. And if you're involved in that operation, then you may have a tax exemption. So it really becomes, and most of the time, if you're in the military and you're going in harm's way, you probably need to check to see if that's one of those that you're actually, get an exemption for. But it's really important just to go to our website and look over that. First responders is, again, if you've been disabled, again, that's about Florida first responders, except if it's 9/11 responders. We'll get a lot because this is a retirement state.
Yes.
They'll move from somewhere up north and they said, I was disabled as a police officer up here. I was shot in the line of duty. I can't work. Can I get the... No, you didn't. It didn't happen in Florida.
Right.
And that's just the legislature decides those rules.
What about, a big one is disabled veterans.
Disabled veterans, the same thing. The good thing is you didn't have to be a disabled veteran living in the state of Florida. Veterans for the disability is applied to all veterans when they come into the state.
And that's a total elimination of property taxes, correct?
It's based on, again, your disability as determined by the Department of Defense, because they will give you a 10% disability, 40%, 50%. We have to look at the disability and those situations of what percent that they give you. That's why everything's got a little bit of nuance that typically what you're hoping is, I'm not going to pay any taxes.
Right.
And then you find out, well, there was a nuance about that I didn't know, and that's what we're there to explain.
Exactly.
So if you're the spouse of someone who is no longer with us,
So a survivor.
a survivor,
We do have surviving spouse for first responders, military. Some of those are surviving spouses, gets those exemptions. That's important to understand, too. So, again, I would say, when you look at 366,000 parcels, 192,000 homestead exemption properties, there are probably people out there entitled to exemptions, but we have no idea of what exemptions they're entitled to. That's why we encourage them, please go to our website. There's about almost 30 different things, that you could apply for if you're in these categories. One of the ones that a lot of times it's our seniors, low-income seniors. Which means they've been in the super senior discount is you've been in your home 25 years.
Yes.
You're over 65. Your home is valued at $250,000 or less. You make less than the federal income level. It's about $29,400. You don't have to pay any. It's totally exempt. So some of those is, I didn't know I qualified for that. What happens now? They've changed it. What happened sometimes in the past? You had a home at $249, you qualified, and then valued at $260, you lost it. Now they said whatever you qualified, no matter if it increases value, you keep it. I will say, and I give credit to our legislators, they tried to do where it was a friendly state to move into. It was also a state where you didn't get taxed out of your home as you got to be a senior.
Which is really important.
That's what the homestead cap does. It really keeps us from being taxed out of our homes. And you can get caught in a trap where you have a bigger home, you're paying taxes because of the cap, and you go, but I want to downsize. Well, that portability allows us to downsize without having to pay more taxes on a smaller home.
Right.
So they've done a great job, really, of making this a great place to live.
I was trying to think about, we had a caller one time who was asking about, she fell in the category of the senior citizen without paying taxes, but she was asking about the stormwater charge.
See, and it comes on your tax bill, and people think that has something to do with ad valorem taxes. That is something the city of Jacksonville assesses on the property. Stormwater and garbage tax. You're not exempt from those. That's the bottom line. I thought I didn't have to pay any taxes because it comes out on your tax bill, but it's a tax that's separate of ad valorem taxes.
Okay.
And I'm glad you bring that up because it comes up often enough.
Yes.
And it'll happen also with exempt properties like church properties. Sometimes they may own certain properties or non-exempts and those kind of things, and they'll say, well, I just didn't pay it. And now all of a sudden they owe back taxes, so all those things is never think if you get something and you think it's not right, don't ignore it.
Right. Ask.
Yeah. If you're getting a tax bill and you don't think you ought to get a tax bill, well, don't ignore it. Call someone, call us, let us make sure that it's accurate because we deal with that all the time where someone, and the other side of this, if there's a change in the deed, the exemption probably goes away, and so. And
what do you mean?
Well, let's say, for example, you live with your mother and your mother has a homestead exemption and the exemption's in your mother's name. The mother passes away. Just because you've been living there, you may be entitled to it now. You need now to apply.
Oh,
if you stay under the mother's homestead exemption and we find out, we eventually will, then all those years that the mother's been passed away, you now are lien for the difference between the market value and assessed value. We had one, the gentleman was living in his father's house on the ocean. His back taxes was over $600,000.
Oh, my word.
Yes. So
that's crazy.
If there's any change in the deed, you want to contact us also. We're catching those, and we're on top of them, but sometimes they can cause you a lien in the future.
All right, there's a lot of information on the website, and the website is duvalpa.com. There's also a phone number that anybody can call, and it's 630-2020.
That is correct.
Now, nobody has to call you, but they can for big things. And if you want to give your number out, you can.
Again, my cell phone number is 318-6877. And you can feel free to call me if you have a question. Believe me, we have experts in my office. I know generally about everything and can go research it. But I want to put you with an expert that knows commercial property or residential property or your tangible personal property, all those kind of things, and we'll get to the bottom of it and answer your questions.
And your office is not just in charge of residential property, you're in charge of all parcels in the county.
We have three responsibilities. One is, again, appraise properties throughout the county, 366,000 parcels, tangible personal property, which is non-homesteaded property, all the desks and offices, all that, and the exemptions. Those are our three functions, and we're there to help you.
Well, you have been great on the show. Every 6 months or so, we ought to have you back.
Love it.
Yeah.
And you're just a great guy to have. By the way, just about everything that you have discussed here is not just for Duval. It's for all of the counties in the state as well. Is that correct?
Exactly. What we're talking about is applied the same laws throughout the state of Florida.
All right. Well, folks, Angela and I love living here in Northeast Florida, and, of course, we do this radio show to give back to the community. If Angela and I can help you, you can call Angela at 465-3845. If you need me, give me a call at 687-8161. We are sending out our thoughts and prayers to everyone that you have a safe week this week with the storm. And if you need us, we're here to help. God bless.